Hello, everybody. Jake here, and welcome to the hobby. Thank you so much for joining me because you're in for a real treat. We're going to be talking about all the meme Pokemon cards that have been pumped recently. I try to gather them all up and compile them in one video. If I miss any meme cards, let me know. There aren't too many of them, but there are some nice ones that are kind of popping off that are kind of random and funny. So I wanted to mention all of those. And the interesting about these right now is that as the bubble in Pokemon card collecting grows, more and more fundamentals gets thrown out the window. And the interesting thing is this really mirrored what happened with the cryptocurrency market a couple of years ago. Quick disclaimer, I've never purchased cryptocurrency, but I did follow the whole entire market and the story that was happening around crypto because I found it really interesting. And one of the interesting things that happens in crypto is that as the market matures and there was just so much more hype and mania surrounding cryptocurrency, more and more people started to go away from the fundamentals and just started purchasing meme coins or meme cryptocurrency, things that didn't really have any long-term uh, aspects to them. There was no prospects of them ever being utilized as a good cryptocurrency. People just bought them because they wanted to get rich quick. And I'm kind of seeing that same scenario happen with Pokemon cards, where a lot of fundamentals about, hey, we're purchasing cards because they are really popular Pokemon. They have great long-term potential. These cards just have amazing art. And it's not that these arts are terrible. It's more that more and more of these little fundamentals are being thrown out and people are saying, oh, who cares? Let's just go for some funny or meme cards. And that seems to be working out, at least for now. But as I say, whenever a card spikes really quickly, there's always that opportunity chance that it crashes pretty hard too. So we're going to be covering some cool cards. And the first one you're probably not surprised by is the Solosis illustration rare, drawn by the exact same artist that drew the Bubble Mew. It's a really kind of like adorable looking card. They clearly have an art style. It's in kind of a bubble as well, very similar to the Bubble Mew, but people are kind of dubbing this one as the Booger Mew or something of that. I think that's insulting in two ways. One, it looks nothing like a booger in my opinion, and the second one is that it's not even a Mew, it's a Solosis, you know? The fact that people have to really stretch themselves for that is kind of crazy. This card went from being a $10 card for the longest time all the way up to right around $60. So it quintuple or whatever hextuple, whatever multiplier you want to put on it. But it went pretty high and it's starting to come back down because no card can sustain this. If you have a couple of copies of this Solosis, you may have been trying to unload it. I actually saw people trying to sell meme cards like this Solosis at Card Party, the convention that I was just at, and they were really struggling to sell this card because vendors would not pick it up, even at 50% off, you know? This card should be valued at, let's say, during Card Party, it was valued at right around $50 to $60. You could take this card up to a vendor and say, hey, this card is recently sold at 60. Would you be willing to take 30 for it? And there were vendors saying, no, I'm not picking up that card for 30 because they were not confident they could sell it for 40 or 50 because they have to sell it immediately because this card might crash back down to $10 by the time they have their next card show. So they weren't willing to pick up the Solosis at $30. The Booger Mew, guys, the Booger Mew, the very first meme card on this list. Next one up, we got ourselves 6-7, everybody, 6-7. We got ourselves the Clobopus, or Clobopus, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a funny name too. This is one known for the 6-7 meme. If you don't know what the 6-7 meme is, it's not that particularly interesting. But the short answer is it looks like it's doing the 6-7 meme. And if you know what that is, it might be neat to you. It's kind of a cute card. Again, drawn by the exact same artist as the Bubble Mew, so you guys can probably see some relationship around here. This card went from being a $5 card all the way up to a $20 to $25 card. So pretty much the same kind of ratio as the Booger Mew or whatever you want to call the Solosis, and it's already climbing back down. If you guys see these two cards, they're already starting to see their immediate drop after a weekend. So that's how quickly some of these meme cards can go. And the thing is, if you have this card or you don't have this card, it might not impact you at all. If you don't have this card, it probably doesn't matter to you. Were you really planning on picking up this card this weekend? If you were willing to pick up this card this exact weekend, and it just so happens that this card shot up to $25, you might be a little bit annoyed. But at the end of the day, these stories I just find a little bit more funny than anything because it really doesn't impact most collectors. Unless you are very specifically trying to pick up this exact illustration rare this weekend, this story is more funny to follow than actually having any meaningful impact to you. That these kinds of things are happening in the hobby, that people are just scooping up wide variety of cards in a massive mania. Another card that gained kind of a weird traction was this Gumshoes from the new Mega Evolution set, because it's supposed to look like Donald Trump, supposedly, with his yellow hair right here, and they may be stalking someone who's doing criminal activity. That's really all the meme that is going around this card. It was going for as low as $8, $9. I think I sold a copy for exactly that, like $8 or $9 during my live stream of Mega Evolution, and I did a $1 start auction on this card, and I think it sold for right around $9 or $10, and now it's going for 25, and then it starts to go back down again to a more normalized state. But you can see how quickly meme cards can go up and down, and I think this exact same spike or hill is going to happen to both the Solosis as well as the Clobopus. Both of these cards are probably going to see pretty dramatic drop after people get bored of memes. That's the thing about meme cards, is that they don't have that strong long-term structure behind of them that some other good illustration rares really have strong longevity long-term. Another card that's been making a lot of traction over the past week is the Marshadow from Mega Evolution. This one is less memey, although it's still kind of a meme, but the meme behind it is really straightforward, is that Marshadow has a Pikachu cameo in this shot, and these two characters did meet inside of a movie that Marshadow was the main character of. So it is kind of neat in that, does Pikachu being in the card make it significantly more desirable? A little bit. I like the art style. I think this card is really cool. I love the art style. It's drawn in kind of an older fashioned style, a way that makes it looks a little bit more mythical or mystical, which I kind of like. I don't know if mystical is a word, but I kind of like this art. This is a card that I would absolutely enjoy having in my collection. So I hope it goes down. I still think this is a good art piece. Like, of all the Mega Evolution illustration rare, this was actually one that I called out when I looked at all the illustration rare from the original reaction video that I did. I said, oh, the Marshadow is kind of cool. When I saw it release in Japanese, I knew this was going to be a good art one. This is actually one of the better arts from all the cards on this list, and I do think it probably deserves to be probably right around $20-$25. I don't see this card being $100. I know there were copies of it sold for $100 plus. Again, this was another card that I saw multiple people trying to sell at the card show I was just at, and they were struggling to find buyers at market price, because this card is swinging so heavily in either direction. If you purchase this card for $80, let's say you purchase it for um, 80% of $80. So let's say you pick this card up for, let's say, 65 or something of that nature. You bought this card from someone at 65. Right now, it's already going for below 50. So if you bought this card for 65, if you did not sell it within a couple of days as a vendor, you've lost a lot of money. And they are trying to run a business. From the vendor's perspective, they're not collectors. They are actually trying to buy cards and sell cards to make money. They are vending. That's literally what vending means. So from their perspective, they can't take this card at 80% because it's swinging so heavily downward. It's going down so rapidly. They might not give you half. That's the thing, right? If this card is going for $80, the vendor might say, I'm hesitant to buy this card at 50%, which is $40, by the way, because it's going down so rapidly. It might end up being a $20 card, and if they don't sell it within the next couple of days, they're going to be left holding it back. For some people, they might not care because they're a collector, but for a vendor, they would care. So that's why vendors are not picking up this card, even at 50% off. Some other cards that have been making some meme waves includes the Beware, less so, just because it's got a real intimidating art, just like a Beware staring at you right there, really towering over you, making you look very small and insignificant. I don't know if this one's a big meme or not. We'll have to see. Another one that I've heard meme stories about is the Dynamo illustration rare. It's all a little bit of a boop. You can be the judge of your meme story here, what the meme behind this Dynamo is. I've heard different stories. I don't know if it's true, because basically I don't think it looks like anything weird at all. People can make stuff sound weird, like this Booger Mew. It doesn't look like Mew, it doesn't look like a booger to me, at least to me, and I'm not trying to be a killjoy, it just doesn't. Like, it's such a stretch, you know? Some of these memes are such a stretch. Like, I don't think Gumshoes really looks that much like Donald Trump. I don't think Gumshoe does. But if someone can stretch the meme up enough, I guess it is what it is. Another card that I just want to call out, it's not really a meme card unless you want to think it is. It's kind of memey, and that is the Box Toppers Ends Reshiram, which was available inside of pretty much every single Journey Together booster box. Less of a meme, but I guess the meme is that it's a box topper card, which is kind of funny because it's just climbing rapidly, that this card that was available inside of every single booster box is just skyrocketing. I think if they did not release another box topper like the Bulbasaur Slam Dunk box topper, you know, this card probably would have stayed right around 20 bucks. At $20, that's probably right because it's a good illustration rare and a decent promo card that was available inside of pretty much every single booster box. So it's nothing super crazy, but because they released the Bulbasaur box topper, it brought a lot of eyeballs back to the Ends Reshiram. Ends Reshiram is pretty cool. I don't know if it's $40 cool. If you want this card, I believe the regular Ends Reshiram, the non-Journey Together version of this card, the non-Journey Together stamp version of this card is actually significantly cheaper. So let's look it up. There's two versions of it. Oh yeah, the non-stamp version, the non-stamp version, the illustration rare that you can actually pull inside of Journey Together, I think it's actually more rare because you get guaranteed this card inside of every single booster box. But you would have to rip open multiple booster boxes and ETBs to pull a single non-stamp. The population may be closer to both. But I actually think this version is really cool too, but it's the stamp version. Just having a stamp makes this card more valuable, which is kind of crazy because, like I said, it's available inside of every single booster box. And they're going to restock and carry a lot of booster boxes out there. You know, there are pallets out there of Journey Together booster boxes, and every single one of those booster box has one of this card, and that's a lot of copies. But that's just crazy. All right, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the rise of meme cards. I wanted to tell that story, is that basically as there is more and more hype in the hobby, fundamental starts getting thrown out. People start taking cards that are a joke and making them rise, like this Solosis, like this Clobopus, like some of these other more memey cards. And that's how meme cards like this start to rise. But it's a really risky market. And I personally don't take anything out of it that is serious. Unless you're really looking to pick up this Solosis right now, it's not a big deal that it's $60. You know, I would like to have this card in my collection down the line at some point. I think it's kind of cute, but probably when it's back down to 10, you know? And I don't have any immediate desire to pick up this card, and seeing it at $60 makes me want it less. It does not make me want it more. Still a cute card. Would like to have it in my collection someday if I pull it inside of Black Bolts. If I don't, that's completely okay. Let me know what your thoughts are on meme cards, and I'll see you guys next time.